Alright, welcome back to another episode of my weekly series where every single week I buy 10 shares of... Yep, that's staying. Alright, quick favor before we continue. If you enjoy weekly stock updates, real investing, and following this experiment in real time, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and maybe drop a comment with your take on the stock this week. It really helps the channel grow. So, let's get into the PayPal weekly. As you can see, we are already in week number 2. And I made some changes to the format in general, added some things so we can keep things fresh and basically make this a thing where we change things up every now and then. So first we'll start with recent comments on the stock. JimD8752 wrote that he wouldn't touch PayPal till $37, since that's where it's going. Just look at the end of the downward channel. Wall Street despises the stock and is tired of Chris sandbagging earnings. So, as you can see, you can just leave me some comments and I will give you my opinion on it. Basically, in this case, the guy highly advises not to buy into PayPal, at least until it hasn't seen the $37 mark. I personally think that is not exactly true. Sure, I mean, getting some PayPal shares at this much of a discount for $37, I wouldn't say no to that for sure. However, you never know how low the stock can go. And currently I can tell that the sentiment on the stock is already quite bad. There's several people who've been holding the stock for years and have been selling now or a couple of weeks ago, since they just lost all hope in the stock due to it basically going lower and lower despite beating earnings or even raising guidance. So I can understand that people are mad, sad, and disappointed in the stock. However, that's basically just a part of the game. What usually happens with stocks like this is that they go high up, high up, high up. Basically, there's a huge hype around the stock, which happened with PayPal as well. In like 2020, 2021 and the likes, the stock soared higher and higher. Which wasn't just due to the super high growth rates, but basically the entire hype around the stock. It just went high to, you could call it Mount Stupid. And then when the growth rates couldn't keep up, because it was very... the growth was bought with lots of cash from the company. And under the previous CEO, the company had to invest a lot to artificially funnel more into that growth, which led to the company not being too profitable, and that ultimately led to its downfall, since at some point growth rates were slowing, dwindling, or even negative, and the company wasn't too profitable. And now the company is very profitable under Alex Chris. However, the growth rates aren't too high, and that didn't make the stock soar either. However, we did see it stabilize over recent years. Basically, it flatlined over the last 2 years with just a couple of outliers in early this year, a couple of months back, etc. So, if you want my opinion on your comment, just let me know whatever you think, and maybe I can include it into the next video as well, given that we don't have too many comments, so this won't eat up the entire format. Next thing is going to be the so-called meme of the week, another new addition to this kind of format. Basically, me looking for some sort of meme that I found especially funny and fitting for the current stock market or PayPal situation. In this case, it's a little guy saying that they beat in earnings, increased revenue, etc., and the stock market just ending up beating the shit out of the stock, which basically is a figurative way of saying that the stock just went lower and lower, basically describing whatever I said in previous minutes. Let's go to the buy history. So first buy isn't something new to you guys. I bought on the December the 5th, basically making my first purchase into the stock in this portfolio. 10 stocks for $61.73, and then I did my second purchase now just 2 days ago. Just for you guys to note, today is the 12th of December, so it's Friday and the market hasn't closed yet. So in the following I'll just go with the current stock price as it is right now. Yeah, I managed to buy PayPal for an even lower price of just $60.50, basically cheapening my position, which basically means that the whole DCA plan is working out quite well. And now let's have a look into the current PayPal stock price. So it's higher than when I bought the last time, however it's lower than when I bought at the very first time. Basically the stock went a little bit down compared to the previous week, at least as it stands right now for me. You might know more since when you see this video the day is probably already at its end. So let's have a look into the price action in total. As you can see, on our first week it was at $62.28 when we did the first video, and now it's at $61.44, basically leading to a weekly change of minus 1.35% and a total percent change of 1.35% in the minus as well. As you can see, this is something new as well. I plan to update this sheet every single week so that you can follow this entire weekly thing, and we see how the stock market has appreciated or depreciated the stock at the current situation, and of course in previous weeks as well, since I'll also include the weekly percent change as well. So it's going to be a great way of seeing historical stock price movements and have a way to basically keep everything tracked. So this is more or less the beginning of the PayPal journey, at least in our portfolio here. So let's look at the PayPal portfolio net worth. The current net worth is $1,228.8, and we are currently sitting at a unrealized gain of $6.5. Last week it was just $5.5, so we essentially gained $1 over the recent week, which isn't too bad considering the stock market depreciated PayPal for more than 1%. So I assume that's quite a big thing for us. Not too bad, not too much of a big movement. Current stock purchases definitely impact the portfolio quite a bit. Let me know if you have some more ideas of things we can include into this sheet, basically, so that I can include this in the upcoming weeklies as well. Now let's go to the most important part, which is basically the news for PayPal in the last week. So first of all, there's a couple of Wall Street analyst houses that downgraded the stock, which isn't too unusual. Personally, I feel whenever a stock is down, analysts just readjust their stock targets down as well, and when the stock moves up, they regrade it upwards as well. This time it's basically done by Evercore, If I remember correctly, they did it on the 8th of December, lowering their price target from $7.5 to 60, from $75 to 65. And then there was a German bank that did basically the same, also from 75 to 65. If I remember correctly, there was also Wells Fargo, BOFA, that also downgraded the stock. One of them downgraded from $93 to $68 and another one from $83 to $66. So there was a huge wave of downgrades, you could say. Basically being triggered by the slower branded checkout growth, which was sort of mentioned by the CFO Jamie Miller in one of the calls recently. Yeah, in a strategic way, it wasn't too great for the existing investors. However, if you want to buy back as many shares as possible, I suppose you can do stuff like this, even though I'm not fond of it at all. I think it was strategically speaking not a good way of doing things. So let's get to the next point, which is the valuation and some fundamental takes. So despite some brokers cutting ratings and targets, there were several research and stock sites that still argue PayPal being or looking undervalued. For example, Seeking Author had a couple articles. For example, one of them was called like "Too Late to Sell," Downgrades, where they acknowledged the downgrade from certain analysts. However, they also noted that PayPal is trading at a very deep discount versus the sector, and all of that with a forward price to free cash flow of 8.4 compared to the sector median of 13.8. So you could say that the narrative this week is that fundamentals and cash flow are still pretty strong. Valuation looks cheap, but growth and execution worries are keeping the multiple compressed, you could say. So I think that sums it up quite well. Now let's look into another pretty interesting news, and that's in accordance to the current product and its ecosystem. Since PYUSD and YouTube are sort of partnering up, which basically means a deepening of the Google PayPal relationship. Basically now you can receive PYUSD as payouts in your YouTube Creator Studio. So that's pretty nice. I didn't even know that in advance, so it's very nice seeing that PayPal quietly expands the PYUSD into mainstream platforms like on here, YouTube. So that's definitely a long-term ecosystem play, and very important in my mind, despite Wall Street focusing on near-term Q4 growth. So let's get to another important point, which is the ownership flow in itself. Since I saw some institution buying into PayPal, which is Globeflex Capital, they disclosed that they acquired shares of PayPal, and you can basically see that even while big Wall Street names downgrade the stock, some institutions are quietly accumulating shares at these levels, and it just fuels more into the narrative that retail holders are basically seeing no more hope, slowly selling their shares, and these institutions starting to accumulate some more stock. So very important to take note of, and definitely a good sign for the long-term perspective of PayPal. Then you could receive the very first dividend of PayPal this week. Since this format is too new for this, we didn't receive a dividend since we were already The DEX ex-dividend day had already passed when we made our first video and our first purchase, so we didn't receive one. However, I hope you received a satisfying payout with the dividend and are happy with it. I definitely see this as a plus as well, since yeah, it's basically something to make up for the recent price action of PayPal in itself. So it's not too bad. And then last but not least, I kept this for last intentionally. I want to take note of something that Dr. Mark Grather posted on LinkedIn. I follow him there and read something that he wrote. I'll just quote what he says, and he said that the PayPal Ads Manager launches in 2026, and you'll be able to turn site traffic into income by showing ads on your checkout page, launch targeted ad campaigns with minimal lift, use the same PayPal business account you already rely on to manage your campaigns. So this isn't huge per se for the stock in itself. However, for me personally, I think this is some huge news, because it basically means that they are really committing to the PayPal world side of things. They are not making something entirely new that people have to get ready for, have it being sold to them. They just can use their own business PayPal account, which in the past, even though it sounds like this should be a given to begin with, in the past it wasn't. So it's great they can use their existing PayPal account, and it's even better if they can turn some site traffic into income without having to take any sort of risk. And personally, I haven't I didn't get too much of an insight other than that. However, I personally imagine this to be something like, let's say you go shopping and see some sort of a toothpaste, and you have all of that in your bag, and the site shows you some ads. Since the seller is just selling toothpaste, the ads show you a couple very neat toothbrushes, which you can pull into your bag as well, and the seller website basically gets a share of that too, which is being paid through PayPal, since they get a commission for advertising said product. Like, this would be something I can imagine how PayPal makes use of this, or at least in my mind this would be a smart approach in that way, especially when they use their very up-to-date and highly futuristic new advertisements for that. So this could be a great thing that just sounds very small and insignificant, but since it's coming from Dr. Mark Grather, I think this could have a huge impact in the very future. However, you should take note, it's launching in 2026, and I didn't hear when it's going to launch exactly, so it could be January, could be June, could be December. It's not really noted here, so that's just something to keep in mind. I think that's very important for the future and shouldn't be neglected. So this is it for the news part of the video, and basically finalizing my video on, or my take on PayPal this week entirely, since the format ends here. If you have more ideas for other things we could cover here, other sections, other subjects, let me know in the comments. I'm really excited to hear from you guys. I really love the conversations about it and about the stock. Can't just keep it to myself, you could say, since this seems to be a very, very interesting experiment, you could say. So that's it for the video, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed. Subscribe to the channel to not miss out on future updates, and I'll see you in the next one.